Legend has it that the pretzel was created by an Italian monk to reward young children for learning their prayers. He supposedly folded strips of bread dough to resemble crossed arms of praying children. This is one of the easiest recipes for homemade pretzels and pretzel rolls, and the results are delicious. To make this soft pretzel dough, you will need 1½ cups of warm water, 2½ teaspoons of dry yeast, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of melted butter, and 3½ cups of white flour. As always, our first step is proofing our yeast. We'll add our 1 tablespoon of brown sugar just directly into the 1½ cup of warm water, a teaspoon of salt, stir it to dissolve it with a spoon, and now sprinkle your yeast over the top and let it bloom for 5 minutes. Once your yeast has bloomed, add your tablespoon of melted butter into the yeast mixture. Mix it well with a spoon, and now pour the entire mixture into your flour. Using a wooden spoon, you just want to mix your flour and yeast mixture thoroughly until you can turn it out onto a floured breadboard. Okay, once you've gathered up all your dough into a soft ball, take some extra flour, spread it on your breadboard, and turn your dough out onto your breadboard. So you want to knead your soft dough for about 3 minutes until it forms a nice smooth ball and the stickiness goes away. Keep adding extra flour as needed. Once you have a nice smooth ball, you need an oiled bowl. You're going to put your dough into this bowl and you're going to cover it lightly, and it's just going to rest for 10 minutes at this point. You'll also be creating a soda bath. You'll need 8 cups of boiling water, 1/2 cup of baking soda. You'll also need 2 tablespoons of melted butter and some additional coarse salt for sprinkling over the top of the pretzels. Take your dough out of the bowl and I like using the pastry cutter, cut the dough in half. Now, forming another ball, we're going to place half of the dough back into the bowl and cover and let this rise for another hour. This will be the portion of the dough that we will turn into pretzel rolls. It's a good idea to lightly flour your breadboard. And now you want to divide this dough into 6 pieces. This recipe will make either 12 pretzel rolls or 12 pretzels, but it's exactly the same dough. So I'm using half for pretzels and half for rolls. So just using your eye, just estimate 6 pieces. And now we're going to form these into long, skinny ropes. This is the time-intensive part of working with the pretzels, and that's rolling out your dough. You want to get it to about an 18 to 20 inch rope. With your ends together, 1 arm over, 2 arms over, lift, tuck under, forming your pretzel. Once your pretzels have been shaped and placed on a silicone pad lined baking sheet, the next step is to give them their soda bath. I've just added our 1/2 cup of baking soda to the boiling water, and now it's time to start adding the pretzels 2 at a time for 20 to 30 seconds. "20 seconds isn't very long. You fish them out and place them back on the baking sheet. The reason we're giving them this soda bath is that the chemical reaction will cause them to turn that traditional and signature dark color and give them that wonderful pretzel flavor. And our final step before we put these into the oven is to brush them with some melted butter and sprinkle them with some coarse salt. Now at this point you can see that each one of our pretzels has a very unique personality. They're not all the same. Some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit better looking, But that's just the nature of pretzels. This guy over here really took a beating in the soda bath. But he'll still taste good. Just using your fingers, sprinkle them lightly with as much coarse salt as you're comfortable with. I don't like too much on my pretzels. You can also use sea salt flakes if you like. For me, that's a little too intense, so I like just the kosher coarse salt best of all. And now into a 400-degree preheated oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Using the other half of the dough that's risen now for an hour, punch it down, and we're going to make our pretzel rolls. Turn it out onto your wooden board, a little bit of flour, and we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did with the pretzel dough. We're going to divide this into 6 equal parts. Picking up your pieces of dough and just rolling them into nice little round balls. So much easier than forming them into pretzels, but we're going to get the same delicious pretzel taste with these rolls that we get in a pretzel, and it's a nice recipe to know about. Follow the exact same procedure with the soda bath, dropping them in for about 20 to 30 seconds. When they come out, they'll be kind of wrinkly, but they'll puff up nicely after they're baked. The last step before they go out into the oven is just slash the top. I just like using scissors and just give them a little nip here. And then we'll brush them with butter and sprinkle them with coarse salt. Finally, just a generous amount of coarse salt on these. These are able to handle a little more salt. Now into a preheated 400-degree oven for 22 to 25 minutes or until golden brown. Do you know which state eats the most pretzels? Pennsylvania. And there is even a National Pretzel Day, which is April 26th. The possibilities using this recipe for homemade soft pretzels are many. You can make pretzels, rolls, sticks, bites. You can make them salty or sweet. Let your imagination guide you and get the kids involved. Homemade soft pretzels are sure to become a family favorite.